A man's father passed away and his family desperately needed the money, but the bank demanded that the deceased had to show up in person to withdraw the cash. Hearing this news, you carried the body straight to the bank entrance, threatening that if they didn't hand over the money today, you'd just let the old man sleep right there. All of this happened because you were bound to the villain system. As long as you do one bad deed a day, you get massive rewards. But the crazy thing is, the more evil you do, instead of cursing you out, people actually praise you. They call you a total saint. Right now, standing 2 meters tall and packed with solid muscle. You're sitting in your law firm, staring at your phone screen, feeling a little confused. Bro, does anyone feel my pain? Another day with 0 clients. Do people just not have any legal problems these days? Hearing you talk to yourself. The viewers in your live stream instantly burst out laughing. Streamer, are you kidding me? Coming to you for legal advice? I might as well just check myself straight into prison. I'm genuinely curious, when you actually go to court, does anyone even dare to interrupt you? Forget about interrupting. If the judge sees a beast like you in the courtroom, I'd say he's brave just for not falling out of his chair. Seeing the chat roast you like this left you completely speechless. Other streamers have fan clubs with cute names, like Little Mochis, or Rice Balls, but your fan group. They literally call themselves the East Sea No. 1 Men's Prison Squad. Seeing that it was getting late and the firm was still completely empty, you just gave up on waiting and headed straight to the gym. It happened to be the evening rush hour in downtown Jincheng. The road ahead was packed tight, bumper to bumper. Yet somehow, within a 5-meter radius around you, there wasn't a single soul. It was like your own personal vacuum zone. There were clearly tons of empty cabs right in front of you, but the second they saw you waving, not a single one of them dared to stop. Even though this wasn't the first time it happened, you just stood on the sidewalk, speechless for a long time. True heartbreak isn't screaming and shouting. This whole taxi fiasco made you swear to yourself. As soon as this month's paycheck hits, you are definitely buying a car. Whether it's a cheap beat-up van or whatever, as long as it has 4 wheels and actually drives, it's fine. Right then, the system's voice suddenly rang out. Time remaining to complete the next evil deed, 3 days. Task completion rewards, basic encyclopedia of law, and a Harley Street Glide. Hearing those rewards, you couldn't hold it in anymore. A huge grin slowly spread across your face. I mean, what tough guy could ever say no to a massive Harley? After that, you tried to get a ride again. This time, you just ordered a rideshare. Are you the passenger with the phone number ending in 0670? You hopped in and gave a nod. The driver turned around, and the second he saw your face, he looked completely terrified. Hey, man, please don't get mad. I'm driving right now. Acting like a demon was breathing down his neck, he slammed the gas, and the car shot forward like a rocket. Watching the driver desperately weave left and right through the heavy traffic, and nearly blowing through several red lights, you couldn't hold back anymore. Dude, did you used to fly rockets or something? Can you slow down? The moment you said that, the driver slammed on the brakes, instantly dropping the speed from 100 straight down to 40. Seeing this, you were just left speechless. Whatever, just drive however you want. It wasn't long before the car reached your destination. After getting out, you were still wondering how the hell you were supposed to finish this system task. Right at that moment, your throat felt a little itchy. And you just spat right out onto the street. Congratulations, host. You have completed the basic daily evil task. The robotic voice echoed in your head. Hearing the system, you completely tripped over your own feet in shock. That counts? Suddenly, a massive wave of information flooded into your brain. You instantly mastered every single law on Dragonstar. Meanwhile, this gross little moment was quickly caught by some sharp-eyed viewers in your live stream. Wow, the streamer has 0 manners. There's literally a trash can right in front of him. Then again, looking at him, he doesn't exactly look like a classy guy anyway. Right when countless people in the live stream were tearing you apart, you had already stepped up to the crosswalk ahead. A woman, holding a child in her arms, had already made it to the middle of the road. But the evening rush hour traffic was just too heavy. Countless cars whizzed right past her. The woman stood there like she was trapped in a tiny gap, not daring to move an inch. Terrified that a car might hit her at any second. Seeing this, you rushed straight to her side without hesitation. Just then, a car tried to forcefully speed right through, instantly scaring the woman so much that her mind went completely blank, her legs turning to jelly. But you stepped right in front of her and threw up a massive hand. A deafening screech of brakes echoed out, followed by the harsh smell of burning rubber. You got a death wish or something? The hot-headed young driver rolled down his window, ready to curse you out. But the split second he locked eyes with you, he violently shuddered. Boss, I'm so sorry. Seeing this, you pulled back the hand you were about to swing, and just patted him on the head instead. Be careful next time. Yielding to pedestrians is a virtue. Got it? Gee, got it. To the driver, that smile on your face looked just like the Grim Reaper coming for his soul. He nodded frantically like his life depended on it. And while you were talking to the driver, the cars across all 3 lanes stayed completely frozen in place. Just like that, you escorted the mother and daughter all the way to the other side of the street. 2 cars still hadn't dared to move, waiting until the blaring horns from behind snapped the drivers to their senses, and they finally drove off. Just as you finished up and were about to leave, "Thank you so much," the woman looked at you and said with pure sincerity. "You're not scared of me?" You turned back, trying to find even a hint of fear on her face. But there wasn't a single trace of fear, only deep, genuine gratitude. Hearing your question, though, she looked a little confused. "You just helped me. If I was scared of you just because of how you look, then I'd be a terrible judge of character. You don't look scary at all, you just look really masculine. Damn, if you know how to talk, keep it coming." Hearing that, you couldn't help but let out a little smirk. The little baby in her arms stared at you, and started giggling happily too. She seemed to really like you. Niu, do you think this nice uncle is a good person too?" The woman looked pleasantly surprised. You froze for a second, suddenly feeling like your heart, which had grown stone cold after 18 years of butchering fish, had actually warmed up a little bit. After waving goodbye to them, the smirk on your face was harder to hold back than the recoil of an A-K. And right then, it finally hit you. You were still live streaming. You opened up the stream, and the chat was already arguing uncontrollably. To all the haters who were just trashing the streamer, I am officially declaring right now. You've all been kicked out of the Donghai #1 prison men's club. Hey, guy above me. Weren't you the one flaming the streamer the hardest just a second ago? You even said he had 0 class. Bullshit. I was cussing out the haters. You completely ignored the viewers bickering in the chat. You knew that ever since you got stuck with this villain system, getting good reviews was pretty much off the table forever. Later on, you walked into the gym. The receptionist girl was already way too familiar with your terrifying face. She stared at you, trembling, and stammered. "B brother Sue, right this way, please." Hearing that, your expression darkened a bit. "Pick a different line next time." "Why yes sir." The girl nodded frantically, absolutely terrified. The chat completely lost it, laughing their heads off. Ever since this girl first saw Brother Sue, she's literally only ever said this exact same line. It sounds like you just walked into some shady underground club. You walked into the gym. As the biggest fitness center in Donghai, the place was already packed. Everyone was doing their own workout, keeping a steady rhythm, until you showed up, and that peaceful vibe was instantly shattered. Whichever section you walked into, it cleared out in a matter of seconds. But you were used to it by now. You stripped off your shirt, showing off that incredibly massive, hulking physique, and started lifting. And watching you lift was quite a sight. A 200-kilogram barbell? You'd press it effortlessly, just like an average guy lifting 30 kilos. Without breaking a sweat. Back when you first tried out those oversized weights, the gym owner was so worried he actually assigned 2 spotters to hover around you the whole time. But he soon realized he was completely overthinking it. Tossing around that kind of weight was child's play for you. The gym regulars didn't even bat an eye anymore. But for the newbies, it was an absolutely terrifying thing to watch. Only after you walked away would they creep up, cautiously trying to lift it themselves. But even with their faces turning completely red, that barbell wouldn't budge an inch. Figuring you'd killed enough time, you were just about to head out, when the mostly quiet gym suddenly got loud. You couldn't help but turn to see what was going on. A stunningly gorgeous woman was walking in, surrounded by the gym owner and his staff. Now, this gym had no shortage of beautiful women. But someone this breathtaking? That was a first. In an instant, countless burning stares were locked onto her. Feeling all those eyes on her, Yueyu looked a bit annoyed. Catching on to her irritation, the gym owner quickly changed the subject. "Boss Shu, these are our top-tier personal trainers. Feel free to pick whoever you like." But Yueyu completely ignored his kissing up. Her pretty eyes swept past the line of trainers, and a flash of disappointment crossed her face. Work had been crazy lately, leaving her with terrible backaches all day. So she wanted to find a personal trainer. She thought this place had a decent reputation. But to her surprise, these guys were no different from the creeps at any other gym. Just their stares alone made her feel completely disgusted, let alone the idea of training with them. Just as she was about to give up entirely, she spotted you. Unlike the other trainers, you weren't eyeing her with that same creepy stare. As her gaze slowly traveled down, taking in your fierce, untamed face and that incredibly muscular body practically radiating testosterone, her heart instantly started pounding out of her chest. What's with the way this chick is looking at me? You thought. The way she was checking you out like a piece of meat made you feel pretty uncomfortable. You casually grabbed a towel, threw it over your shoulder, and got ready to hit the showers and leave. Little did you know, covering up only made her even more excited. "Wait, don't go. I choose you. Are you talking to me?" You stopped in your tracks, pointing at yourself in confusion. Seeing this, the gym owner nearly had a heart attack. Out of all the trainers available, he couldn't believe she had set her sights on this absolute beast of a man. These were 2 people he absolutely could not afford to piss off. One could buy his entire business in a heartbeat, and the other looked like he could smash the place to pieces just as fast. B-Boss Shu, this gentleman doesn't actually work for us. Why don't you pick someone else? Hearing the owner's frantic plea, Shu Yueyu just frowned. I don't want anyone else. I want him. Then, she turned right to you and demanded, name your price. Is 100 grand a month enough? It wouldn't take up much of your time at all. But I only have one condition. You need to be at my beck and call. 100 grand a month, and no strings attached? The old you would have snatched that up in a heartbeat. But now, you're a man with a system. Bowing your head to a woman for this kind of chump change? Wouldn't that be a total disgrace to the entire system community? You looked at Shu Yueyu and let out a soft chuckle. Is 100 grand supposed to be a lot? Hearing this, Shu Yueyu was completely baffled. If you think it's not enough, I can always offer more. Before she could even finish, you waved your hand and cut her off. It's not about the money. I just don't give a damn. With that, you turned around smoothly and walked away, dropping one last line before you left. You should be thanking your lucky stars I don't hit women. Shu Yueyu just stood there, staring blankly at your retreating figure. It wasn't until the gym owner called her name a few times that she finally snapped out of it. A strange, vibrant glimmer flashed across her beautiful eyes. 3 minutes. I want his entire file. Meanwhile, out on the bustling, traffic-filled streets, a deafening roar suddenly tore through the air. Sitting on top of a massive, heavy motorcycle that looked like an absolute steel monster was a hulking giant of a man, easily matching the bike's sheer size. This absolute juggernaut of a duo instantly through the stares of countless people, right up until you finally parked the beast beneath the plaza building. To your absolute surprise, the second you stepped off the Harley, a few girls immediately came over and asked for your number. When had you ever gotten this kind of VIP treatment before? Forget 18 or 19-year-old girls. Normally, even grannies in their 50s and 60s would take one look at you and run the other way. But of course, you weren't about to fall for their feminine charms. Women only slow down how fast I draw my sword. After that, you headed straight back to the law firm and fired up your live stream. Let's see if anyone needed your legal help today. The moment you went live, a massive wave of viewers came flooding right into the chat. What kind of crazy stunt are you pulling today, streamer? You straightened your expression and said, alright everyone, today, we're going to dive into a little legal education. Wait, did I accidentally follow a lawyer? Aren't you a meme streamer? Since when did you become a legal expert? Seeing the chat instantly fill up with mocking comments, you couldn't help but roll your eyes. The stuff I'm talking about today is directly tied to your everyday lives. So listen up, and take notes. There were plenty of veteran fans in the stream. Even though they knew you were technically a lawyer, they'd never actually heard you talk about the law before. Naturally, they didn't expect you to say anything profound. Now, I'm sure some of you in the chat enjoy a good cup of tea, right? You know, the really premium stuff? Starts at $500 and the sky's the limit? Even though you were speaking in heavy code, everyone in the chat was a seasoned veteran of the internet. They caught your drift instantly. Is this so-called tea totally legit? Amidst the rolling laughter in the comments, you kept your tone perfectly level and continued the story. Let's say there's a guy named Zhang San. He absolutely loves going out for tea whenever he's free. But this guy is a total deadbeat, who doesn't have the cash to cover those expensive tea bills. So, he came up with a little scheme. He lied and said he was a rich kid looking for a sugar baby, specifically targeting a tea vendor. He promised to give her at least 50 grand a month. When the tea vendor heard this, she was obviously over the moon. She pulled out all the stops, making sure her tea was the absolute best and sweetest it could be. But after the tea session was over, she took one look at her payment and almost had a stroke. Sure, he handed over the 50 grand, but it was literally hell money, printed by the Bank of the Underworld. So tell me chat, what crime is Zhang San guilty of? Zhang San is my kind of guy. When there's tea, he really drinks it. No wonder they wouldn't let me open a tab the last time I went out for tea. Wait, would that be considered assault? It didn't violate her consent, so it doesn't count as assault. No, it's definitely assault. Watching the heated debate raging in the chat, you snapped your fingers. Time for the big reveal. Since Zhang San and the tea vendor were both entirely willing participants, and no physical force was used, it does not legally constitute assault. And since this kind of tea selling business isn't protected by law, it doesn't count as rape either. As for using counterfeit money, that doesn't count either. The transaction itself isn't legally binding for either party. So, the charge of using fake money is completely out of the question. Man, the streamer's explanation just totally fried my brain. So what you're saying is, he basically just drank the tea for free, right? You give a slight smile. Even though Zhang San's actions don't constitute any of the crimes mentioned above, he can still be punished under the Public Security Administration Punishments Law. The maximum penalty is up to 7 days of detention and a fine of under 500 yuan. And that wraps up today's legal lesson. Wow, learned something new. Isn't that way lighter than the penalty for getting caught drinking tea? Your fresh and unique way of live streaming legal advice immediately won massive praise from the viewers. Just as you were about to call it a day, a comment in the chat suddenly caught your eye. Lawyer Sue, I've been following you for a long time. Recently, my mom got seriously ill and we desperately need money, and my dad just passed away. He left us a bank book. But when I tried to take this book to the bank to withdraw the money, the staff insisted that the account holder has to be there in person to get it out. If you see this, could you please help me? Zhang Ming was just an ordinary citizen in Jincheng. His father passed away earlier this year. Before passing away, he told them about an account at a nearby bank. But right around that time, his mother fell ill, so the matter was just put on hold. Unexpectedly, the hospital discovered a malignant tumor in his mother, requiring immediate surgery. The surgery costs a fortune. Zhang Ming immediately grabbed the bank book and rushed to the bank. He figured he'd just need to fill out a bit more paperwork to get the cash out. But the bank staff had a terrible attitude, to say the least. And even after Zhang Ming went through all the procedures they told him to, he was still told the paperwork was incomplete and he had to keep going. Those endless, never-ending procedures felt like a bottomless pit, torturing Zhang Ming until he wished he were dead. These past few days, he's been running back and forth between the bank and the hospital every single day. He just couldn't understand it. Having to go through so much complicated paperwork to withdraw his own family's money was one thing. But why did the bank clerks have to mess with him and make things so difficult at every turn? Today, he hit another brick wall at the bank. Combined with the hospital's constant payment notices, Zhang Ming felt completely hopeless and just wanted to end it all. Right then, he happened to catch your live stream. He thought, since you're a lawyer, you definitely know how to handle this kind of mess better than he did. So, treating it as a last-ditch effort, he left a comment in the chat. Meanwhile, Zhang Ming's comment had already caught the attention of many viewers in the stream. People started speaking up for him in the chat. Man, that is way too rough, bro. When you deposit money, they don't ask for any paperwork. But the second you try to withdraw a slightly larger amount, suddenly there are procedures for everything. You look at the screen full of comments, your face completely stony. Just then, a mechanical voice rings out in your mind. A new round of the villain system tasks has been refreshed. Mission: teach that lowly bank clerk a lesson. Make him deeply realize his mistake. Mission reward: mental agility increased by 30%. Intimidating aura upgraded. The system's reward makes your brain freeze for a second. The first one you could understand. After all, quick thinking is standard equipment for a good lawyer. What the hell is this intimidating aura? You're already scary enough as it is. If you get any scarier, you literally turn into a human monster. Are you going to court to fight a case, or just going out to beat people up? Before you could think too much, the netizens were already urging you to help Zhang Yu. You directly chose to voice chat with Zhang Yu. Lawyer Sue. Once connected, Zhang Yu's voice sounded incredibly timid and submissive. It was hard to imagine how a grown man could be pushed to a breaking point like this. Hey buddy, take a breath. Don't panic. I'm gonna need you to walk me through the whole story from start to finish. That way, I can figure out exactly how to help you out. As Zhang Ming explained the whole story, the live chat just absolutely blew up. They could have just told him all the required paperwork at once. Why drag it out like squeezing toothpaste? They're just messing with him. His dad just passed away, and his mom is seriously ill. He's already going through hell, and that bank teller is still screwing around with him? Do they even have a heart? While the chat was still raging against the bank teller, bam, with a sharp crunch, you deadpanned as you crushed the empty soda can and tossed it into the trash, casually pulling out a tissue to wipe your hands. Listen, man, I've got a pretty good grasp of your situation. Can you swing by my law firm? By tomorrow at the latest, I'll get that money out for you. After you ended the stream, it barely took any time before Zhang Ming rushed into the office. It was your first time seeing him in person. He was supposed to be a young guy, but his face already carried the heavy, weathered look of someone beaten down by life. Those heavily bloodshot eyes made your heart ache for him. So, you walked over and gave him a gentle pat on the shoulder. But then, things got a bit awkward. You really just tapped him, but Zhang Ming stumbled and nearly lost his footing. As heavy as your mood was, seeing this still left you a bit speechless. Zhang Ming's face flushed bright red. Mr. Su, you've got a really heavy hand. Brushing past that little hiccup, you could completely feel the burning anxiety in Zhang Ming's chest. Look, man, I could honestly help you push all the paperwork through today. But if we just leave it at that, it feels a bit like letting that teller off way too easy. If you can wait just one more day, how about I drive you home to grab something? You then laid out your entire plan for him. Mr. Su, is that really a good idea? You already knew he'd react exactly like this. If we don't teach that teller a lesson, the next person who runs into an emergency and desperately needs their money is just going to get toyed with the exact same way. You, of all people, know exactly how agonizing that feels. It won't take much time. But of course, it's entirely up to you. You left it at that, stepping back to let Zhang Ming make the call. His face twisted in conflict. From the day he was born, he had been taught that keeping the peace was the most important thing, even when he was a kid and got into fights at school. His parents would smack him first, no matter who was right or wrong. That was exactly why he grew up into such a timid, pushover of a guy. But then, remembering everything he had suffered over the past few days, a sudden surge of hot anger rushed to his head. Screw it, Zhang Ming gave a firm nod. Mr. Su, I'll do whatever you say. Seeing him agree, you nodded back in deep satisfaction. If he had said no, you would have understood. After all, the poor guy just wanted to withdraw his money. But deep down, you would have been pretty disappointed. A good lawyer is the best weapon a normal person has when they're in trouble. But if you get bullied this badly and don't even dare to let out a peep, then handing you a Gatling gun wouldn't do a damn thing. Heaven helps those who help themselves. Not long after, a deafening roar, like a crack of thunder, echoed endlessly down the street. Meanwhile, back at the bank. Miss, could I please trouble you to take a look at this for me? When does this passbook expire? A woman with a harsh, bitter face heard. The old lady at the window. Completely ignoring the poor woman's timid, cautious gaze, Zhang Xiaohong rolled her eyes so hard they almost got stuck in the back of her head. There's a date right on it, isn't there? The old lady looked even more frightened. I'm sorry, miss. I don't know how to read. The only family I have left is my grandson, and he's away at college. Could you just help me this once? Hearing this, Zhang Xiaohong lifted her chin arrogantly. She opened her mouth and instantly started lecturing the poor old woman. Look, old lady, how can you be so clueless at your age? Do you have any idea how busy our bank is every single day? Couldn't you just wait for your grandson to get back before asking? Or is there really no one else around you who knows how to read? Under Zhang Xiaohong's verbal assault, the old lady could only mutter apologies as she scurried away. Luckily, someone at the next window couldn't bear to watch, and helped the poor old lady check the date. Thank you so much, sweetie. It was such a tiny favor, really, but it brought a bright, happy smile to the old lady's face. After thanking her again and again, she finally left the bank. Watching the elderly woman shuffle away, Zhang Xiaohong still couldn't resist rolling her eyes. You're way too nice, but I guess you're just new here. You have no idea how much of a headache these old folks can be. I used to be just like you, you know. But you help them once, and suddenly they'll come bothering you over every little trivial thing. And they'll demand it has to be you. You're absolutely right, Miss Zhang. The new intern at the neighboring counter simply nodded along to her words. But deep down, her eyes held nothing but pure disgust for Zhang Xiaohong. Next. Are you coming or what? If no one's here, I'm skipping this number. But before her annoyed complaints could even finish, the moment she saw who was walking up, her voice completely died in her throat, as if someone had just aggressively choked her out. Sir. How can I help you today? Zhang Xiaohong shot up from her chair like a rocket, giving you a deep, respectful bow as she asked in a trembling voice. You gave her a quick glance, feeling a bit let down. From Zhang Ming's description, you thought she'd be some kind of ferocious monster. Turns out, she's just a classic bully who cowers before the strong. If she had actually kept her arrogant attitude, you might have actually respected her. Without another thought, you whipped out a massive burlap sack from behind you. You untied the bag and dumped out a massive pile of coins. Staring at the floor completely covered in 10-cent coins, Zhang Xiaohong stood there, completely dumbfounded. Exchange this into bills for me. That shouldn't be a problem, right? You casually asked, looking down to smooth out a slight wrinkle on your sleeve. Sir, you actually need an appointment for this. Zhang Xiaohong forced herself to say it. Are you saying you won't do it? Meeting your icy glare, Zhang Xiaohong felt her entire body tense up, ready to shatter from the pressure. I can do it. She quickly nodded, in a sheer panic. She immediately made a phone call. Within moments, a few more staff members came rushing out from the back of the bank. It created the most bizarre scene in the lobby. A whole group of employees squatting on the floor, frantically picking up coins. Meanwhile, you sat comfortably off to the side, holding a cup of tea and taking slow, leisurely sips. 2 long hours passed. Zhang Xiaohong wiped the sweat from her forehead, with a slightly fawning look on her face as she walked up to you. Sir, we've finished counting your coins. It comes to exactly $500. She honestly thought her incredibly attentive service would earn her a compliment. She definitely didn't expect you to just give her a slow, unimpressed look. Instead, you just casually said, thanks for your trouble. Now, change that 500 into $1 bills for me. Hearing this demand, Zhang Xiaohong's face flushed bright red. But crushed under your intimidating aura, she had no choice but to scurry right back to the counter and awkwardly count out $501 bills for you. Sir. Here is your money. Zhang Xiaohong carefully peeked at you, absolutely terrified that you were going to make another crazy demand. You looked at the thick stacks of cash and nodded approvingly. Then, you pulled out a single $1 bill and slid it over to Zhang Xiaohong. Deposit this into my account. After making her do this back and forth a few times, Zhang Xiaohong was on the verge of a total mental breakdown. With tears welling up in her voice, she cried out to you. Sir, I don't know what I did to offend you. Why are you doing this to me? Who's causing trouble in here? The next moment, a few security guards swaggered into the bank from outside, shouting and acting all tough the second they walked through the door. Zhang Zhaohong, who was already crying her eyes out, suddenly lit up, looking like she'd just found her savior. She started frantically signaling with her eyes that it was you. You noticed her little gestures, but didn't even bother to stop her. You just sat there, steady as a rock. But the moment those security guards actually noticed you, their eyes instantly filled with pure terror. Who the hell is spreading rumors? Making us come all the way down here for nothing. Everyone here is a perfectly nice person, nobody's causing any trouble. The whole squad of guards filed right back out, though they were walking a whole lot faster than when they came in. Having a scary face brings a lot of hassle, sure, but it definitely has its perks, too. Like right now, for instance. The bank manager, who had rushed over full of righteous anger after getting the call, instantly turned as meek as a little lamb the second he saw your face. Our clerk was completely out of line and offended you. Please, tell me what you need. Let's step into my office. Whatever the problem is, we will definitely get it sorted out for you. Soon enough, the few of you walked into the office. You sat back casually in your chair. Meanwhile, Zhang Zhaohong stood in front of you, looking completely miserable. She didn't know any better. Whatever she did to offend you, I sincerely apologize on her behalf. As he spoke, the bank manager couldn't help but shoot a very resentful glare at Zhang Zhaohong. The truth is, they all knew exactly how this woman usually treated the customers. She was a veteran employee, so they always just turned a blind eye to it. He just couldn't figure out if she'd completely lost her mind. How could she dare to mess with a guy like you? She really had some nerve. Meeting her boss's angry gaze, Zhang Zhaohong actually felt a bit wronged. Sure, she was arrogant, but she wasn't a total idiot. She honestly didn't understand, since she'd never even seen you before, why you were targeting her so intensely. But you couldn't be bothered to waste any more time with them. You twirled the teacup in your fingers and said slowly, "A friend of mine. His father just passed away. He came to see this lady here, and she told my friend that the account holder had to be here in person to withdraw the money." The bank manager chuckled awkwardly when he heard that. "I am so sorry, man. She definitely handled that poorly, but that rule comes down from upper management. It's purely for the security of the funds." Hearing that, you just nodded. "You're absolutely right. That's exactly why I went out of my way to have my friends father come over here in person." The bank manager completely froze. That's really not a good joke to make. But before he could even finish his sentence, you reached into your bag, pulled out a photograph, and slammed it on the desk. Seeing the face in the picture, Zhang Zhaohong let out a terrifying scream. Sitting right there on the desk was a black and white funeral portrait. The old man in the frame, dressed in traditional burial clothes, honestly looked like a very kind soul, but to Zhang Zhaohong, for some inexplicable reason, his eyes looked incredibly ruthless and terrifying. She stumbled backward and collapsed onto the floor. She covered her eyes and just kept screaming and screaming. At that moment, the bank manager finally snapped out of his shock. He instantly realized this was your way of venting your anger. But before he could even say a word, you kept going. "Look, does this count as a remote authorization? Because if it doesn't, we're just gonna have to go through the hassle of hauling the old man's corpse all the way down here." Hearing that, the bank manager practically shrank into himself in terror. He could already picture the sheer, utter panic a dead body would cause if it showed up at the front door of the bank. And honestly, he fully believed that a guy like you would actually do it. "I am so sorry, sir. I want to formally apologize to you again. This is a complete failure of our customer service. Tell you what, whatever compensation your friend needs, just name it. I will personally submit the request to upper management." No wonder this guy was the manager. Since he was groveling like this, it really wouldn't be cool to keep pushing him into a corner. "Let's put the compensation aside for a second. My friend's father just passed away, and his mother. And he's seriously ill, desperately needing that money. But time and time again, this lady here kept turning him away, claiming his paperwork was incomplete. The problem is, she never even tells him exactly what paperwork he actually needs. My friend ran back and forth for 3 whole days and still couldn't withdraw a single cent. So let me ask you, is this how your bank's employees treat their customers?" Your few calm words instantly made the bank manager's face turn dead serious. Usually, if a teller has a bad attitude, they might just turn a blind eye and let it slide. But what Zhang Zhaohong did completely crossed the line. We are all human, we all have empathy. Put yourself in his shoes for a second. If you were in that desperate situation, facing this endless harassment, how would you feel? People are so on edge these days. If she had run into someone with even a bit of a temper, they might have just snapped and gone on a rampage. Feeling a chill down his spine, the bank manager also felt a wave of gratitude toward you. If they didn't weed out someone like Zhang Zhaohong, she might have ended up dragging him down with her. Thinking of this, the manager looked at you again. "Thank you, man. We will get in touch with the person involved right away. Once we get to the bottom of this, heads will roll. We'll fire who needs to be fired, pay whatever compensation is owed, and show absolutely zero tolerance. As for the paperwork issue he mentioned, I'll personally take a day off to go with him and get all the documents sorted out locally. Are you satisfied with this arrangement?" Hearing this, you nodded. Alright then, you handle the follow-up. Zhang Zhaohong? She was completely panicking now. She knew damn well that everything she just did would definitely get her fired if the higher-ups investigated. And she had just gotten engaged. Her fiancé's family already didn't like her very much. If they found out she lost her job, the wedding was as good as cancelled. Desperate and frantic, Zhang Zhaohong pleaded with the bank manager, "Manager, I'm so sorry, please, just give me one more chance. Please don't report this, I'm begging you." But by this point, you had already stood up. An overwhelming, mountain-like aura of intimidation swept through the room. The sheer pressure caught the begging Zhang Zhaohong off guard, making her legs give out as she slumped onto the floor. The manager shot Zhang Zhaohong a look of absolute disgust. Then, as he watched you walk away, a strange gleam flashed in his eyes. Man, if this guy lived in ancient times, he'd totally be a legendary, nation-conquering general. Meanwhile, the moment you got back home, you received your system reward. Ding! Mental agility increased by 30%. As the system chime rang out, you instantly felt a refreshing wave of clarity wash over your brain. Intimidating aura, unlocked. Hearing this second reward, you rushed straight to the bathroom without skipping a beat. Terrified that the system had ruined your handsome face, you stared at your reflection in the mirror, letting out a... Wait, your reflection hadn't changed at all. Was the system just messing with you? Whatever, it didn't really matter. Keeping your current looks was already perfectly fine. Thinking of this, a smile crept onto your face. But the moment you smiled, you realized something was horribly wrong. That smile in the mirror, it inexplicably sent a shiver down your own spine. It was hard to imagine that such a simple smile could pack so much malice, ferocity, and sheer terror all at once. You almost gave yourself a heart attack just by looking in the mirror. Muttering under your breath, you turned on the live stream, ready to kick off today's legal advice session. But the moment you went live, the chat absolutely exploded. Whoa, why does the streamer look so much scarier today? I feel like if I say one wrong thing, he's gonna pull a strap out of his bag. Lawyer Sue, here's a little advice for you. Maybe you should just quit being a lawyer and go join a mercenary squad instead. I swear, you'd make the ultimate combat god. You were already totally used to the chat's wild banter. Just as you were about to get down to business, a massive animation suddenly flashed across your phone screen. It was a super rocket gift effect. In all your time streaming, this was the very first time you'd ever gotten a gift like this. Seeing the ID, it instantly clicked, and you immediately accepted his request to go live together. Attorney Sue, all the paperwork on my end is completely sorted out. The bank even kept apologizing to me. My mom said I absolutely have to thank you properly, no matter what. Since you wouldn't accept my wire transfer, I had no choice but to send you stream gifts. Hearing Zhang Ming say this, you just shook your head. Alright, you've got expenses popping up left and right now. Stop sending gifts, and just focus on getting your mom better. Seeing you both doing well is the best payback I could ask for. After quickly wrapping up the call with Zhang Ming, the chat completely blew up. Wait, is this scripted? With the streamer's vibe, if he actually knew how to script things, trust me, he'd be one of the biggest stars on the internet by now. He really is such a good guy. I swear this all just went down this morning. It got resolved that fast? Right at that moment, another full-screen gift effect flashed across the screen. Assuming it was Zhang Ming again, you immediately frowned. But once you got a good look at the username, you froze. Baoer, that name didn't ring a bell at all. It was clearly her first time in your stream. Yet she was throwing around serious cash. Did you just stumble upon a crazy rich whale today? However, just as you started feeling a little thrill, seconds ticked by and you realized something was definitely off. The full screen effects kept popping up, one after another, with zero signs of stopping. In the blink of an eye, Baoer had already dropped over 10 super rockets on you. Without missing a beat, you instantly disabled the stream's tipping feature. Facing a wall of confused comments in the chat, you didn't say a word. But then, Baoer's very first message caught you completely off guard. Hurry up and turn the tipping back on. I'm throwing money at you until you log off today. Seeing that, the viewers totally lost their minds. He really did attract a massive whale. Bro, open the tips back up. Embrace this absolute flood of wealth coming your way. Despite the endless urging from the chat, you just gave a calm, composed smile. My financial luck is pretty much set in stone. I'm afraid I just can't handle this kind of sudden, massive fortune. Also, to this Baoer, thank you for the gifts. But if you sent them by mistake, you can reach out to me before the end of the day. I'll refund whatever portion I'm allowed to cash out. That move left absolutely everyone completely stunned. In their minds, streamers were just internet beggars, right? People who would do literally anything for a quick buck. So why were you so different? Honestly, your reasoning was pretty simple. You weren't some pretty boy idol or a flashy entertainment streamer. Why on earth would someone drop that much cash on you? You genuinely felt something sketchy was going on. With that in mind, you smoothly changed the subject. Due to expanding business, Fiefin Law Firm is actively hiring one legal assistant. Anyone interested can add my WeChat directly or just drop by the office. And with that, you quickly ended the stream. Meanwhile, in a sprawling standalone villa over in Jincheng, a woman was curled up on a lavish sofa. Her beautiful eyes sparkled with a strange fascination. Such a proud, arrogant man. And he seems even more masculine now. I absolutely love it. As your stream's popularity kept skyrocketing, taking on more lawsuits was basically inevitable. As a licensed attorney who was now pulling some serious internet fame, operating as a complete one-man show just wasn't a good look anymore. Getting a legal assistant was an absolute must. That's why you casually dropped the hiring announcement during the broadcast. You didn't expect such a massive response. When you woke up bright and early, your inbox was completely flooded with messages. Attorney Sue, can I apply for the assistant position? I've got great skills. I absolutely need to land this assistant gig. Forget about the salary, I don't even care. I'm just here because I'm absolutely obsessed. Looking at the endless messages in your inbox, your mouth twitched slightly. 100% of the people sending these messages were guys. And even though these idiots talked a big game online, memeing like absolute pros, the reality was your law firm had been open for half the day. And you hadn't seen a single living soul. Just as you were debating whether to post the job opening, on some other apps, there was a sudden, gentle knock on the front door. A sweet, melodic voice called out from outside. Attorney Sue, I'm here to interview for the assistant position. May I come in? It was a girl, and her voice was surprisingly pretty. You reined in your slight excitement, straightened yourself up, and called out. Come in. The sharp click of stilettos echoed into the room. You looked up, and your jaw completely dropped. It was Yueyu, the woman from the gym the other day. What? Are you that surprised to see me, Attorney Sue? Seeing your expression, a faint, teasing smile spread across Yueyu's face. You shook your head, forcing a cold expression. What are you doing here? Attorney Sue, am I not welcome here? Yueyu pouted, looking all pitiful. Hearing this, you furrowed your brows. Cut it out, boss Shu. Spit it out, what do you want? Anyone else would have been terrified by your obvious impatience. But Yueyu wasn't scared in the slightest. I'm here to apply for the legal assistant position. You? Applying to be my assistant? Princess, I need a real employee, not a rich girl playing pretend. You didn't even try to hide the sarcasm in your voice. A legal assistant is basically just an intern. It's usually a fresh law grad who has already passed the bar. They have to work under a licensed attorney for a whole year. Not only is the pay garbage, but the workload is a nightmare. You didn't believe for a second that someone like Yueyu would willingly settle for being a legal assistant. This isn't just some sudden whim. I really hope you'll seriously consider me, Attorney Sue. Yueyu leaned against the desk, her eyes completely serious. Seeing that, you actually hesitated for a second. Are you even a law major? Yueyu seemed to have expected the question. He simply pulled out 2 certificates and handed them over. As you looked at them, the shock on your face only deepened. Holy crap, a master's degree from the National University of Law. You never expected her to be a graduate from a top-tier law school. And with a master's degree on top of that. With this kind of resume, never mind being a simple legal assistant. As long as she has her license, the big 4 law firms would be fighting over her. Wait a second, why do you want to work here? Don't you run your own company? Without missing a beat, Yueyu answered bluntly, because of you. Being confessed to straight to your face by such a stunning, accomplished woman. Even with your thick skin, you couldn't help but blush. Even though you knew she had ulterior motives, having an assistant who was both gorgeous and highly educated. Throwing herself at the job? You literally had no reason to turn her down. Even if she probably wouldn't stick around for long, it didn't really matter. You didn't have any other good candidates anyway. You might as well just make do for now. Alright, since you're applying for the job, I don't care what your status is out in the real world. In here, you're just my assistant. You have to strictly follow the rules. No showing up late, no leaving early, and if you need time off, you ask for it. Got it? Yueyu's face immediately lit up with joy. Understood, boss. You waved your hand at her dismissively. Alright, then, I'll draft a contract in a bit. You can wait outside for now. Whatever you say, boss. Watching her swaying hips as she walked away, your heart couldn't help but skip a beat. The way she said boss completely melted your bones. But, you were still a little confused. Logically, you looked way more intimidating than before. So why wasn't Yueyu scared of you at all? Was this woman just clueless? Did she not know what fear was? But while you were lost in thought, out in the hall, Yueyu looked around for a good while, looking a bit confused. She apparently couldn't find a single thing to actually do. Evening soon rolled around. Boss, is it time for me to clock out? You glanced at the time and nodded. Where do you live, boss? Just nearby, at Longchen Skyline. Yueyu paused. Several long seconds ticked by. Suddenly, she gave your sleeve a pitiful little tug. Wow, what a coincidence. I actually live right near Longchen Skyline too, boss. Could you give me a ride? Hearing that, your mouth twitched. Judging by that long pause just now, you highly suspected she was just mentally scrolling through her massive list of real estate properties. Seriously, how else could a normal person forget where they lived for that long? Night fell. On the crowded, bustling streets, a fierce-looking motorcycle was weaving through traffic. Sitting behind you, Yueyu had her arms wrapped tightly around your waist. Her perfect figure drew countless envious stares from people passing by. It wasn't long before you dropped her off at her destination. She climbed off the bike, looking a little reluctant to leave. "Hey, boss, want to come up to my place for a bit? I'm all alone tonight." She gave you a playful wink. After being teased by this woman so many times, you decided to drop the act. "You sure about that? I'm only giving you one chance to think this through." Yueyu, who always loved having the upper hand, suddenly froze. "Boss, you really are a bad man." With that, she turned and jogged away. You shook your head as you watched her run off, then twisted the throttle. The Harley roared out like a wild beast. Meanwhile, Yueyu sprinted all the way back into her house without stopping. Her face was completely flushed as she patted her chest. "Oh my god, I almost said yes." She took a breath, then dialed a number. By the time she spoke, her face had returned to its usual icy calm. "Lynn, go to this location. I parked my Bentley there. Bring it over to me." The very next morning, sitting in your law firm's office, you started up a brand new live stream. Today, we're doing our legal talk a little differently. You guys in the chat get to vote on the topic. Let's see what you all care about the most. The moment you finished speaking, the chat completely exploded. "I just want to know. Is it true that if someone slaps you, they have to pay you tens of thousands?" Lawyer Sue, hypothetically, if someone hits me, and I straight up stab them, does that count as self-defense? Seeing the same questions flooding the chat, you shook your head. Wow, you guys are feeling pretty aggressive today, huh? But, since you all want to know the legal difference between mutual combat and self-defense, let me break it down for you. First of all, those online stories where one slap equals a massive payout of tens of thousands? Yes, it happens, but in the vast majority of cases, a simple slap doesn't legally count as a minor injury. The cops will usually just make you two mediate it yourselves. If the other guy refuses mediation, they'll get locked up for 7 days at most. Of course, there is an exception. Let's say this guy hits like a truck, and that slap bursts your eardrum, or even gives you a concussion. That officially counts as a minor injury. In that case, if you call the cops, they'll still start with mediation. But as for the compensation amount, that's entirely up to the two of you to negotiate. If you're dead set on pressing charges, the other party could be looking at up to 3 years behind bars. Plus, they'll end up with a criminal record. So, in situations like this, a single slap could score you a massive payout, maybe even a brand new car. Hearing this, the chat went absolutely wild. If his slap doesn't count as a minor injury, can I just slap myself a few more times to make up for it? Bro above me, you really don't want to go to work anymore, do you? If Lawyer Sue slapped me, would that be a minor injury, or just a scratch? The jokes just kept rolling in. You ignored the trolling and went back to explaining the law, breaking down the difference between mutual combat and self-defense. Right then, a stunning pair of long legs in black nylons suddenly stepped into view. Next thing you know, a pair of delicate hands placed a cup of tea right on your desk. "Boss, you must be thirsty. Have some tea to soothe your throat. Otherwise, I'll feel so bad for you." With a shy giggle, Yueyu scurried out of the room, leaving you sitting there completely dumbfounded. What the hell is she up to? When you finally snapped out of it, you realized the livestream chat was completely losing its mind. "Streamer, when you said you hired a hot assistant, I thought you were just talking big. You weren't kidding? Can someone tell me exactly how I need to sleep to dream up an assistant this perfect?" The way she said boss literally melted my bones. Meanwhile, inside a small diner over in Jincheng, "Boss, let me get a large bowl of wontons." Li Shuai called out to the lady running the shop, his eyes glued to your livestream. He was an out-of-towner working in the city, and since his job didn't cover meals, this cheap little noodle joint was his go-to spot for dinner. But the lady, slouched on a stool nearby, just rolled her eyes at him. Li Shuai didn't catch that. Assuming she just hadn't heard him, he politely repeated himself. "Excuse me, ma'am, I'd like a large bowl of wontons." I heard you. Stop rushing me." She slammed her phone down onto the table with a loud thud and stood up, grumbling under her breath. A moment later, she shoved a massive bowl in front of him. The heavy clunk of the bowl hitting the table made Li Shuai flinch. He was getting pretty annoyed, but he kept it to himself. He just made a mental note never to eat here again. But before he even took his first bite, he frowned. Just from the smell, he could tell this bowl of spicy wontons was way off compared to usual. Not wanting to start any drama, and naturally loving a bit of sourness in his food, he reached out to add his usual splash of vinegar. But the second he grabbed the bottle, the owner, who had been glaring daggers at him, suddenly snapped. "What do you think you're doing?" Li Shuai was caught completely off guard. Watching her stomp aggressively toward his table, he replied, totally baffled. "I'm just adding a little vinegar. Is there a problem?" Her eyes went wide, and she immediately started scolding him. "A little vinegar? You dump half the bottle in every time you come here. The money we make off you doesn't even cover the damn vinegar." Li Shuai was honestly at a loss for words. Sure, he always added vinegar. But it was a completely normal amount. Besides, it was just a tiny bottle. Even if he used the whole thing, it wouldn't even cost that much. Look, lady, you put it on the table for people to use, don't you? And seriously, how much could a splash of vinegar possibly cost? How much? If every single customer dumped it in like you do, you might as well just shut down the shop and go bankrupt. What's going on out here? What's all the yelling about? Can't even grab a drink in peace. Right as the two of them were arguing, a big guy reeking of booze stumbled in through the front door. Seeing the man, the owner's wife suddenly acted like she had found her backup. Her tone toward Li Shuai turned even harsher. Hubby, it's this kid. Didn't I tell you about him last time? He's the one who always dumps a ton of vinegar in his food. Running this place is expensive enough as it is. Every time he comes in for a bowl of wontons, we actually lose money. Hearing this, the alcohol went straight to Wu Bing's head. He marched right up to Li Shuai. If you can't freaking afford to eat, then don't come here. Faced with the aggressive couple, Li Shuai's anger had reached its boiling point. As an out-of-towner, he didn't dare get into a fight with Wu Bing. He forced a stiff smile onto his face and said, Bro, why don't you sit down first? That's really not how it. Before Li Shuai could even finish, Wu Bing swung his hand and slapped him hard across the face. What the hell are you smiling at? This is my shop. I don't need you telling me to sit down. Get out right now. Seeing that things were getting out of hand, the wife, who had been fanning the flames just moments ago, quickly grabbed hold of Wu Bing. But even so, she still yelled at the completely stunned Li Shuai. You dump so much vinegar every single time you come. It's hard enough running a business as it is. Don't ever come back. Just leave. Wu Bing shoved his wife aside and stepped right up to Li Shuai again. Are you gonna get the hell out or what? A rush of hot blood shot straight to Li Shuai's head. He wanted nothing more than to grab the nearest stool and smash it right into Wu Bing's face. But in a split second, he forced himself to calm down. The weight of his responsibilities meant that he couldn't fight back. Instead, he offered to leave. Wait, pay for your food first. Hearing this, Li Shuai stared at Wu Bing in absolute disbelief. But I didn't even eat anything. I said pay up. Are you freaking deaf? If you don't pay, you're not leaving here today. Left with no choice, Li Shuai pulled out his phone and scanned the QR code to pay 12 yuan. Hearing the payment notification, Wu Bing pointed aggressively at Li Shuai's head and roared. If you ever show your face here again, I'll beat you to a pulp. You hear me? The wife chimed in from the side. Just get out of here. And don't come back, you hear? Beaten and completely humiliated, Li Shuai stood at the door and threw back one last comment. This trashy place. I wouldn't come back even if you begged me. Hearing that, Wu Bing furiously charged outside after him. Stop right there, you little punk. Meanwhile, over at the law firm, as your livestream traffic blew up, more and more locals started stumbling across her content. For the first time ever, the firm was actually getting a ton of walk-in clients. But what you found kind of weird was, almost all the clients showing up were women, and they were either asking about dividing assets, or looking to get a divorce. Right now, a beautiful woman in her 30s was sitting across from you. She batted her eyelashes at you flirtatiously. Mr. Su, I need some legal advice. My husband is, well, he can't get it up anymore. If I file for divorce right now, can he be considered the at-fault party? Her question left you completely speechless. What kind of wild question was that? You finally managed to get her out the door. The moment you walked out, you saw Shu Yueyu sitting on the couch. Pouting, lost in her own little world. Shu Yueyu, pack it up, we're off the clock. Today seriously wiped me out. Surprisingly, Shu Yueyu just kept sitting on the couch, not moving an inch. Then, she spat out a single sentence. Oh, yeah. I never would have guessed Lawyer Su could even cure men's little performance issues. You're a real miracle worker, Doc. No wonder you're so swamped. After all, the capable do more work, right? Who knows, maybe someday you'll even have to help take care of someone else's wife. Hearing this, you froze for a second. What the hell was she being so passive-aggressive about? You had no idea why Shu Yueyu was suddenly throwing a rich girl tantrum. But you honestly couldn't be bothered. Just as you walked out of the firm, ready to head home, you suddenly heard Shu Yueyu scream, followed by a loud, heavy crash. Thinking something terrible had happened, you sprinted back inside. But when you saw the scene in the office, your eyes practically bulged out of your head. That gorgeous, high-quality replica porcelain vase you just bought yesterday was now shattered into a million pieces at Shu Yueyu's feet. You just dropped over 3,000 bucks on that. It hadn't even held a single flower yet. Shu Yueyu, I'm so sorry, boss. I just got way too worked up. Seeing your furious expression, Shu Yueyu bit her lip and frantically apologized. Seeing her like this, you really couldn't bring yourself to keep yelling at her. You just let out a heavy sigh. Forget it, I'll let it slide this time. But if there's a next time, it's coming straight out of your paycheck. No way, I can't just let it slide. That was antique porcelain, right? We actually have a vase just like it at home. I'll bring it in tomorrow. Hearing that, you just kept your mouth shut. So, what were you shrieking about anyway? Throwing vases around. Did you get possessed by a demon or something? Hearing this, Yueyu's eyes instantly flared with absolute rage. She shoved her phone right into your face. Boss, just look at this. I swear, in my entire life, I have never seen anything like this. It seriously blew my mind. You glanced at the screen, and your eyebrows immediately knitted together. A dark, heavy tension practically radiated off you. Once the video ended, you handed the phone back. The very first thing you muttered was, "What the hell? That shop owner is absolutely gonna get herself killed by her husband." Yueyu nodded vigorously in agreement. Honestly, it's the first time I've ever seen someone this incredibly stupid. If she just kept the video to herself, it'd end in a simple mediation. But she actually thought she was in the right. Posting her own security footage online to let the internet judge? What kind of twisted logic is that? Neither of them are right in the head. Alright, enough. Things like this happen all the time, honestly. Don't pout like it's the end of the world. It's not worth ruining your mood over scum like them. As a lawyer, you were completely used to seeing all sorts of twisted people. Aside from a brief spike of annoyance, stuff like this rarely fazed you anymore. But Yueyu was totally different. This sheltered, wealthy little princess had never seen anything so morally repulsive in her life. She was grinding her teeth so hard you could hear it. I just can't stand people like that. It makes me so mad. I swear, I'm gonna buy out a vinegar factory today and dump 100 tons of the stuff right on that shop owner's head. You shot her a sideways glance. With her background, she was absolutely crazy enough to actually pull that off. Save your breath. You send 100 tons of vinegar over there. And that cheapskate owner would probably kneel down and call you, "Mommy," for the free stock. Yueyu thought about it for a second, realizing you were absolutely right. She just couldn't figure out how else to punish someone so completely shameless. It wasn't like she could just hire a bunch of thugs to trash his store, right? What kind of person would that make her? While she was agonizing over it, her eyes suddenly landed on you. A light bulb instantly went off in her head. You suddenly noticed her staring at you with a really weird look in her eyes, right before her soft body leaned heavily against yours. A delicate, distinctly feminine scent washed over you. Then, in an incredibly sweet, almost syrupy voice, she said, "Boss, aren't you a lawyer? Come on, help the poor guy out. Sue that scummy restaurant owner and lock him up and throw away the key. Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep a wink tonight." Hearing Yueyu's dramatic plea, you just shook your head. "I'm a lawyer, not a cop. I can't exactly just track down the victim and ask if they need legal aid, you know? But, if you really want to teach that guy a lesson, I do have an idea." Yueyu had looked a bit disappointed at first. The moment you said that, her beautiful eyes lit right back up. "Ooh, what is it? Throw some money at it. Boost this video straight to the top trending spot. Once it goes viral, the internet will tear him apart for you." The moment the words left your mouth, she instantly got it. She leaned down and planted a huge kiss right on your cheek. "Thanks, boss." Before you could even process what happened, she was already giggling and skipping out the door. You sat there stunned for a second, then shook your head with a smile. What is the world coming to? When women decide to be bold, men really don't stand a chance. Later that evening, just as you walked through your front door, you got a call from an unknown number. "Hello? Is this Attorney Sue?" A man's voice asked hesitantly on the other end. "Speaking. Who's this?" As soon as you confirmed, the caller's tone instantly became excited. "Oh, Attorney Sue. Hi. I'm a huge fan of yours. I watch your live streams all the time. You left your number on stream once, so I just thought I'd try my luck. I can't believe it's actually you. Well, how can I help you?" Realizing he was a fan, your voice softened, becoming a bit more approachable. "So, here's the thing, Attorney Sue. Today I went to a noodle joint for some wontons. And then, hearing that awfully familiar setup, you blurted out without thinking. And you asked for extra vinegar." "Yes, exactly. Attorney Sue, how on earth did you know?" You couldn't believe it. What were the odds? You swallowed hard and told him to keep going. After a long explanation, you sat there in absolute disbelief. It really was that much of a coincidence. This guy, Li Shuai, was the actual victim from the viral vinegar video. "Have you called the cops yet?" You asked immediately. "Yeah, I called them the second I left the shop." "What about your medical report? And what did the police say?" "I haven't gone to the hospital yet." "As for the cops, well, they want us to try and mediate it first. If that doesn't work, the owner might just get a minor public order violation." As he said this, Li Shuai's voice was dripping with frustration, which was completely understandable. If anyone else had been physically and mentally humiliated like that over a meal, they'd probably want the owner dead. The fact that Li Shuai had kept his cool showed he was incredibly mature. "So, what are you looking to get out of this?" "I want to sue him." "But, Attorney Sue." Li Shuai sounded incredibly hesitant. The cops had already warned him that since his injuries weren't severe, the most the owner would get was a 7-day detention for disturbing the peace. Honestly, Li Shuai had been ready to just drop it. But down at the station, that arrogant jerk, Wu Bing, was still acting like he owned the place. He even ran his mouth, saying he wouldn't pay a single dime, and dared them to lock him up. Nobody, no matter how good-natured, could swallow that kind of disrespect. So, as a last resort, he reached out to you. I get what you're saying. Go to a bigger hospital nearby and check into her to get an injury report done. If it's classified as a minor injury or worse, it'll be super easy to handle. And even if it isn't, no worries. Just come by my law firm tomorrow morning. I can take this case. As for the fee, just pay whatever you think is fair. After thanking you over and over, Li Shuai finally hung up the phone. Following that, you took the video Yueyu had sent to your phone, uploaded it to your computer, and started watching it frame by frame. The most crucial thing in a lawsuit is finding evidence. Above all else, the law in Dragon Country is all about the proof. Without evidence, you could talk until you're blue in the face and it still wouldn't matter. Early preparation is actually way more critical than how you perform later in the courtroom. Honestly, even you had to thank that lady boss for willingly uploading the video to the internet herself. Otherwise, taking on this lawsuit would mean putting in some serious effort just to track down the surveillance footage. When you woke up the next morning, you were absolutely stunned when you checked your phone. The hype around yesterday's video had literally gone through the roof. Over 1 million likes and hundreds of thousands of comments. Is this chick really that wild? If Yueyu wasn't secretly fanning the flames behind the scenes, you definitely wouldn't believe this. How much money did she even dump into this? What a crazy spender. Muttering a silent complaint, you left it at that. After all, the girl is loaded. And how she wants to blow her cash is her own damn business. Even though you could pretty much guess what the comments would say, you were still curious enough to take a peek. This place's food is seriously top-notch. Their signature dishes are the mega face slap and the vinegar glazed front teeth. You guys gotta eat here all the time. Pro tip for anyone going to this joint. Make sure you ask for extra vinegar. It unlocks their premium add-on services. A free tooth extraction and an aggressive facial massage. I genuinely don't get how this lady boss can so self-righteously post the security footage online, and then have the thick skin to act like she's the victim. This is my first time ever seeing someone get chased down and beaten by the owner just for asking for a little extra vinegar. First time seeing someone post a video just to cancel themselves. But what shocked you even more was that with the video blowing up like this, any normal person would realize they've triggered massive public outrage. They'd instantly apologize, delete the video, and compensate the victim. That is the only logical way to fix this. Turns out, this owner's brain is just wired completely differently. You could spot his replies under almost every single top comment. Yeah, I hit him, so what? If he comes back asking for vinegar, I'll beat his ass again. You bunch of broke losers, can't afford to buy your own damn vinegar? Don't come into my shop looking for attention. You still want extra vinegar? Next time, I'll take a piss in the vinegar. Too bad for you haters. The cops didn't drag me away, and my shop is still wide open. You're all welcome to come find me in person if you want a piece of me. After reading the owner and the netizens going at each other's throats, you couldn't help but laugh out loud. You seriously didn't know if this guy was just stubbornly dense, or if he just hadn't experienced a brutal reality check from society yet. After that, you shut off your phone, grabbed a bite to eat, and hurried back to the law firm. Not long after, Yueyu also walked into the office. You looked at her and asked curiously, how much money did you spend boosting that post? How on earth did it get so much traffic? Yueyu shot you a bitter glance, her tone carrying a hint of resentment. Boss, do you really think I'm that stupid? I only bought 10,000 bucks worth of traffic. Only that much? You asked, your tone laced with confusion. While 10,000 bucks certainly wasn't a small chunk of change, compared to the massive explosion of traffic this video was pulling in right now, it honestly felt like a drop in the bucket. I was shocked too. I was originally planning to drop a few $100,000 on it first. Who would have thought that right after buying just 10,000 in traffic, the likes would already smash past 100,000. Plus, there are tens of thousands of comments. As she said this, Yueyu's face lit up with obvious excitement, desperately wanting your praise. If that was your own money, you'd be lucky I didn't chew you out. Spending that much on a total stranger. All I can say is, that chick's got more money than brains. You quickly changed the subject. Guess who called me yesterday? You originally just wanted to build a little suspense. But Yueyu's reaction immediately made you regret opening your mouth. Her expression instantly turned sharp and suspicious. Who? Was it that housewife with the useless husband? Did she call you last night? How can a woman be so shameless? I knew she was a homewrecker the moment I saw her. You didn't do anything with her, did you? Oh, you definitely did. How could you men ever turn down a woman throwing herself at you? Give me your phone. I'm gonna give her a piece of my mind. Seeing her get more and more fired up, you quickly cut in. What the hell are you talking about? I swear, I want to crack your head open. Just to see what's actually inside it. What? Did I guess wrong? Yueyu blinked innocently. Hell yes, you're wrong. Here's what actually happened. You glared at her, clearly annoyed, and explained the whole situation from start to finish. Boss, you mean, the guy from the extra vinegar incident actually reached out to you? Yueyu's eyes went wide, clearly still processing the information. It wasn't until you helplessly repeated the story one more time that she excitedly threw her arms around you. Pushing her away, you looked at her in confusion. You related to this guy or something? Yueyu honestly shook her head. Then what the hell are you so excited about? I'm just really happy for him. The owner of that noodle shop pissed me off so much. Boss, you have to lock that guy up. Let him rot in jail. If you need any evidence gathered, I'll dig into it for you. I'll dig up all the dirt on him, going back 18 generations. Yueyu clenched her fists, looking fiercely determined. No need for any of that. The guy literally posted the security footage himself, which is basically him self-destructing online. The client is coming over in a bit. Just try to behave yourself. Don't go scaring the poor kid, alright? Not long after, there was a knock at your office door. Lawyer Sue, I'm the one who called you yesterday. I don't know if you still remember me? Meeting the lawyer he had only ever seen on live streams, Li Shuai was understandably nervous. The difference between a screen and real life was massive. Even though your build looked huge on camera, seeing you in person, Li Shuai realized he had still completely underestimated you. Plus, that intense mob boss aura was absolutely terrifying. You looked up and noticed Li Shuai was clearly on edge, so you offered a few words to calm his nerves. Unfortunately, that only made him even more terrified. There was nothing you could do about that, so you just let it go. Let me take a look at your medical report. Li Shuai obediently pulled the injury evaluation report from his pocket. You briefly flipped through the pages. Final assessment listed it as a level 2 minor injury. Seeing this result, you nodded and continued. Can you confirm this certificate was issued by an official hospital? No faked records, right? Getting a firm yes from him, you placed the report back onto the desk. Next, we need to talk about what you actually want out of this. Your injuries qualify as minor injuries under the law, which means we can push for criminal charges. But if we go that route, the payout for civil compensation is going to be extremely low. If your main goal is getting paid, I can negotiate a massive civil settlement for you. I'm not saying you could buy a whole car outright, but a solid down payment? Absolutely. Hearing your words, he was obviously torn. After all, Li Shuai had moved miles away from his hometown to Jincheng. And at the end of the day, it was all to make a living. Now, with an opportunity like this sitting right in front of him, of course he was hesitating. But then, thinking back to exactly what that noodle shop owner had done, Li Shuai gritted his teeth and said firmly, Lawyer Sue, I mainly want to hold him criminally responsible. Hearing this response from Li Shuai, a hint of satisfaction flickered in your eyes. Once Li Shuai left, just as you were about to say something to Yueyu and her eager, gossip-hungry expression, the mechanical voice echoed in your mind once again. Congratulations, host. You have triggered the daily dose of villainy quest. Current objective. Go eat at the noodle shop. And pour an entire bottle of vinegar into your bowl. Quest reward. Words of absolute authority. Your words will carry significantly more persuasive power. Well, this quest is actually quite interesting. You raised an eyebrow with a faint smirk. Honestly, even without the quest reward, you really wanted to see just how damn expensive their vinegar could possibly be. After leaving Yueyu at the firm to draft the lawsuit, you set off. Meanwhile, inside a noodle shop in downtown Jincheng, the veins on a man's forehead were violently bulging. His fingers aggressively smashed against his phone screen, hitting it so hard it looked like he wanted to shatter the glass right then and there. You pathetic losers. I own several shops. Does that make you mad? My shops are still wide open, and yeah, I beat that guy up. If you want a piece of me, just come and get it. I'll beat the crap out of all of you. Staring at the flood of vicious comments from netizens, Wu Bing was practically exploding with rage. Honey, please calm down. Don't get so worked up over these people. It's really not worth it. Seeing his state, his wife, Zhang Yan, quickly stepped forward, trying to soothe him with a gentle voice. But for Wu Bing, who was desperate for an outlet for his anger, her words just gave him a convenient punching bag. He swung his arm out and delivered a vicious slap. Smack. Angry red welt marks instantly flared up across Zhang Yan's aging face. Cupping her burning cheek, she stared at him in pure disbelief, completely unable to grasp why her own husband had just hit her. Why did I hit you? Are you a freaking idiot? Why the hell did you post that online? I mean, sure, I'm not scared of them, but having these rabid dogs constantly snapping at me is just disgusting. Hearing this, even though her face was still throbbing with pain, looking at Wu Bing's furious expression, Zhang Yan actually started to think she was the one in the wrong. I'm sorry, honey, I didn't think things would blow up like this. How about we just close the shop for a few days? We can reopen once this whole mess blows over. Listening to her timid apology, Wu Bing immediately waved his hand dismissively. No way, closing the shop is no big deal. But those losers will think I'm actually scared of them. I am not closing. Let's just see who actually has the guts to show up. The moment the words left his mouth, a massive, deafening roar suddenly tore through the air. A massive black Harley road glide rumbled to a halt right at the shop's entrance. When they saw the figure dismounting the bike, both husband and wife stared in wide-eyed shock. Staring at the absolute giant of a man stepping off the motorcycle, Wu Bing's eyes practically popped out of their sockets. What would you like to order? Wu Bing's wife scurried over to Yu, her voice trembling as she asked. You looked her up and down. Seeing her cowering like a scared mouse, you couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed. Based on the video and Li Shuai's description, you had assumed the owners of this shop were a couple of real badasses. Turns out, they were nothing but a joke. Get me a bowl of wontons in chili oil, you said, flashing a faint smile. But that simple smile was all it took for the lady boss to completely lose her footing. Stumbling backwards and nearly collapsing to the floor. Seeing this, your brow instantly furrowed. Was there really a need to be this insulting? Did you honestly look that terrifying? But the moment she saw you frown, the lady boss's face drained of color, turning pale as a ghost. Wu Bing, always quick to read a room, noticed the flash of annoyance crossing your face. He aggressively shoved his wife aside and quickly plastered on an apologetic smile, turning to address you. So sorry, my wife's just a bit slow in the head. I'll cook for you myself today, sir. Just give me 1 second. After saying that, Wu Bing scrambled into the back kitchen like a total coward. He moved so fast, it was like if he hesitated for even 1 second, he'd never make it out alive. As for his wife, she was slumped on the floor, terrified. It took her a good while before she finally managed to get up, trembling, and follow him into the kitchen. Throughout the whole thing, she didn't even dare to look you in the eye. Once they were both gone, you slowly pulled out your phone. You were live streaming the whole time, and the chat was absolutely blowing up. Streamer, you're a freaking legend. When I saw the news about this place yesterday, I was so mad I almost lost it. I can't believe the algorithm blessed me with your stream today. This guy was literally just cussing people out on the delivery app, threatening to beat up anyone who dared to show up. Look at him acting all submissive now. What a classic coward, picking on the weak but folding the second he sees someone tough. You can just tell by that pathetic look on his face. With a massive guy like Lawyer Sue standing right there, the dude was practically scared to death. Seriously, Lawyer Sue, just smash his face in. The chat will crowdfund your legal fees. You glanced at the comments scrolling across the screen. Everyone was clearly loving the karma, though a bunch of them were practically begging you to throw a punch. To that, you just shook your head. I totally get where you guys are coming from. But scaring the crap out of this guy is enough. If I actually hit him, how would I be any different from trash like him? For someone like that, wouldn't throwing him behind bars be way more satisfying than just beating him up? Doesn't the legal process take forever? Is justice delayed really justice at all? The lawsuit will be filed with the court by tomorrow at the latest. For a high-profile case like this, the whole trial process should be fast-tracked. If everything goes smoothly, we might actually be in court within 2 weeks. While you were bantering with your stream, back in the kitchen, Wu Bing and his wife were frantically whispering to each other. Honey, why is that guy so freaking huge? He's built like a mountain. Do you think he's gonna... As she trailed off, a flash of genuine panic crossed her eyes. Wu Bing shot her a vicious glare. Don't jinx it, he muttered, desperately trying to reassure himself. If he was one of those internet trolls, would he be acting this polite to us? He's probably just a regular customer here for some food. But despite his brave words, his voice was practically shaking with anxiety. Anyway, whatever he's here for, we absolutely cannot afford to piss him off. And hey, if he looks like he's gonna swing at me, you call the cops immediately. And I mean instantly, because honestly, I don't think I could survive even 1 punch from that monster. Hey, are you guys making these from scratch or what? Is it still not ready? Your booming voice from outside made them both flinch in terror. Coming right up, sir. When you saw Wu Bing carefully carrying out a massive bowl of wontons, you raised an eyebrow. Are your portions always this huge? Oh, absolutely. We've always believed in generous portions and small margins. You nodded, staring right through Wu Bing. Well, you must be a boss who really cares about his customers, then. Hearing that, Wu Bing's fake smile twitched awkwardly. Then, as if suddenly remembering something, you pointed at the vinegar bottle on the table. Oh, right, I'm a big fan of vinegar. Mind if I add some to this? Wu Bing forced the most painful-looking smile you'd ever seen. Go right ahead, sir. If we put it on the table, we obviously want our guests to enjoy it. While saying that, Wu Bing was frantically gesturing with his eyes to his wife nearby, telling her to call the cops the second things went south. Fortunately, you didn't do anything aggressive. Instead, while they watched in sheer horror, you proceeded to empty the entire bottle of vinegar into your bowl, right down to the very last drop. Seeing this, just as Wu Bing's wife was about to speak up. Are you an idiot? A whole bottle of vinegar barely costs a few cents. If you piss off this absolute menace, we're done for. Are you crazy? Before their eyes, the entire bottle of vinegar was dumped right into the bowl. In a flash, the spicy red oil wontons turned completely black. After doing all that, you suddenly shook your head. Oh, I just remembered. I think I already ate today. Well, before you could even finish, Wu Bing quickly jumped in. Boss, if you're already full, I'll just go toss this. It's on the house, no charge. What are you talking about? I'm still paying for it. But, I really hate wasting food. Tell you what, boss, why don't you eat it for me? My treat. Hearing that, the smile on Wu Bing's face completely froze. He stared stiffly at the bowl of pitch black wontons. Is this stuff even edible? Come on, bro, you're joking, right? Wu Bing managed a smile that looked worse than if he were crying. What do you think? You flashed him a little smile. You slowly rolled your neck, and loud cracks popped through the air. Just as Wu Bing tried to argue, his wife blurted out anxiously. Honey, just eat it. Don't let his kindness go to waste. He never expected the final backstab to come from his own wife. But since she'd already said it, Wu Bing had no choice but to bite the bullet. He sat across from you and took a tiny bite. Oh, that overwhelming sourness. Wu Bing hated vinegar to begin with, and he almost couldn't hold it in, nearly spewing it right back out. Luckily, his wife had quick reflexes. She instantly slammed her hand over his mouth. She practically forced that half-chewed wonton right back down his throat. The muscles on Wu Bing's face were twitching in absolute agony. He pinched his nose and swallowed it hard, whining miserably. Bro, please, can I stop eating now? You dropped the smile and shook your head. If you had said no earlier, it would have been fine. But since you already took a bite, you have to finish it. Before Wu Bing could even show his anger, he watched as you calmly picked up the soda can from the table. Without even seeming to try, bang, a loud pop echoed. You crushed the aluminum can into pieces with one hand. Then, you picked up a napkin and casually wiped your fingers. Looking at the completely stunned couple across the table, you mumbled, my bad. I was just a bit thirsty. Hand must have slipped. Anyway, what were you going to say? Nothing at all. My husband just wanted to say that wasting food is a terrible sin. He will absolutely finish every last drop in that bowl. His wife shouted in sheer panic. Seeing this unfold on the livestream, the chat absolutely exploded. I'm dead, chat. Wasting food is a sin? Mao. Watching the streamer humble these scumbags is way too satisfying. I'm telling you, absolute units like our streamer right here need to form a vigilante club just to teach these idiots a lesson. Unlike the dying of laughter chat, Wu Bing was currently regretting every single life choice he had ever made. Trying to suck up to you earlier, he had made an absolutely massive bowl of wontons. And look at him now. The acid was burning a hole in his throat, and he wasn't even halfway done. Seeing her husband's pale green face, his wife thought to herself, this isn't gonna work. She couldn't let a bowl of wontons actually kill her husband. So, after getting your nod of approval, she grabbed a spoon and dug in alongside Wu Bing. But clearly, she couldn't handle it either. After taking just one bite, her face completely twisted up. Terrified of you watching, she held it in and sprinted straight for the bathroom. And just like that, after making God knows how many trips to the bathroom, the two of them finally polished off the entire basin of wontons. You two have a seriously impressive appetite. Actually, I was gonna say, if you really couldn't finish it, giving it to the dogs wouldn't count as wasting food. But seeing how good your appetites were, I decided not to mention it. Hearing this, Wu Bing and his wife, who were slumped over the table, shot him a hard glare. They finally figured it out. This guy came here today specifically to mess with them. Right now, the only thought going through their minds was praying for this absolute menace to just leave already. But you showed zero signs of going anywhere. Instead, you casually tapped your finger on the table. Alright, I treated you to a meal today, so I guess we're friends now. Time to get down to business. What business? A million question marks popped into Wu Bing's head. I'm Li Shuai's attorney. I'm here today on behalf of my client, specifically to handle the little matter of you intentionally assaulting him. Hearing your deadpan delivery, Wu Bing and his wife nearly choked on their own blood. A lawyer? Are you freaking kidding me? What kind of lawyer orders food just to force feed people? What kind of lawyer has this much free time? If your intimidating aura wasn't so completely overwhelming, Wu Bing probably would have lost his mind and tried to take you down with him right then and there. My client's demands are very simple. We just need compensation for emotional distress, medical bills, and commuting expenses. It comes to a grand total of 1 million yuan. Pay up, and we'll drop the criminal charges. Hearing this, the veins on Wu Bing's forehead bulged. No matter how scared he was of you, there was no way in hell he'd agree to that. 1 million yuan? That was worse than just outright killing him. Just as Wu Bing secretly grabbed the stool next to him, gathering all his strength for a sneak attack, you suddenly spoke up. Well, I've delivered the message. Since you guys aren't willing to settle out of court, expect a subpoena from the judge. With that, you turned around and smoothly walked out of the noodle shop. This left Wu Bing, who had just worked up the courage to fight you to the death, feeling like he just threw a full-force punch into a pile of cotton. His face turned beet red, completely suffocated by frustration. Wu Bing's wife clearly hadn't processed what just happened. It wasn't until the deafening roar of your Harley-Davidson street glide echoed through the street that she snapped back to reality and quickly helped Wu Bing up. Honey, he really just left. What do we do now? What do you think we do? We shut down the damn shop, that's what. I'm not running this garbage place for another second. Later, when you returned to the law firm, Yueyu was glaring at you with a deeply resentful expression. Her pretty face was so dark and stormy you could practically wring water out of it. Did you get a sty in your eye? Or do I have flowers growing on my face? Yueyu stomped her foot in frustration. Boss, why didn't you take me with you for something so fun? Where do I even stand with you? In my heart, obviously. You dropped that cheesy pickup line so smoothly, like a grandmaster of cringe. By the time you realized how wrong that sounded, it was too late to take it back. You could visibly see the previously fierce Yueyu instantly turn beet red. She shyly lowered her head, murmuring, "Oh, you're so annoying." As time passed, the video's popularity kept skyrocketing. The clip of you totally humiliating Wu Bing had been edited and uploaded to the internet. And people were already calling you the most ruthless lawyer in history. Other big shot attorneys only throw heavy punches in the courtroom. But you? The lawsuit hasn't even started, and you're already throwing heavy punches in real life. The once insanely arrogant Wu Bing and his wife apparently realized the terrifying power of public opinion and completely dropped their smug act. They deleted their pinned videos overnight. They even posted a new video apologizing to Li Shuai, and Wu Bing's wife was in it too, squeezing out a few fake tears. At first, quite a few easily swayed netizens actually felt sorry for the couple after seeing the video, thinking about how tough it is for physical stores right now. Saying things like, sure, hitting him was wrong, but it's totally normal for a boss to act like that. If every customer added that much vinegar, how could the boss even stay in business? But unfortunately for them, before this little sympathy wave could really catch on, someone leaked Wu Bing and his wife's group chat messages. Regret my ass? It's all because of those drama-loving animals online. Those netizens pushed us into this mess. Once the authenticity of those screenshots was confirmed, no matter how much Wu Bing and his wife apologized, absolutely no one bought it anymore. Crocodile tears aren't worth a dime of sympathy. Meanwhile, back at the law firm, you formally submitted the indictment to the Jincheng Intermediate People's Court. As the days went by, the hype around this whole thing started to die down a bit. That is, until an official account posted an update and pushed the hype right back to an all-time high. Recently, our court received a criminal indictment where the plaintiff, Mr. Li, was involved in a conflict at a snack shop owned by Mr. Wu. Mr. Li formally filed a lawsuit with this court on the 15th of last month. Following the incident, public attention surged. Recognizing the immense public interest in this case, our court has expedited the proceedings. A public hearing will be held at the Jincheng Intermediate Court on the 7th of this month, with the consent of both the plaintiff and the defendant. The trial will be live-streamed online. We welcome the general public to tune in and oversee the process. That announcement from the Jincheng Court went completely viral. Is justice really coming this fast? I've got a feeling the viewer count on this livestream is gonna break records. I want to see that piece of trash get what he deserves. Anything less than the death penalty wouldn't be enough to calm us down. Yo, the guy above me. Stop yapping. Honestly speaking, this is just a simple dispute. He'd be lucky to even get a few days in lockup. This one little detail totally split the comment section down the middle. Some people felt that Wu Bing physically assaulting someone was completely crossing the line, and that he needed a heavy sentence to satisfy public outrage. Meanwhile, the other half felt that it was just a typical scuffle, and that public opinion absolutely shouldn't mess with the fairness of the law. Otherwise, how is it still the rule of law? Either way, neither side was backing down. They were arguing until they were blue in the face in the comments. Back at the firm, Yueyu put her phone down. She looked over at you, hard at work at your desk, with a glimmer of admiration in her eyes. Boss, you're so amazing. Let me test you on something. You had no idea what kind of game she was playing this time. She handed her phone over to you. Look at the comments. Which side are you on, boss? You glanced at the incredibly polarized comment section on the screen, and realized in a split second that she was totally trying to trap you. As a legal professional, letting public opinion influence a case is obviously a huge red flag. The problem was, the case you were handling right now was right in the middle of a massive media firestorm. If you completely dismissed the impact of public opinion, wouldn't that make you a hypocrite? Basically, picking either side felt like a losing game. You weren't about to let that stump you. Both sides are missing the point, you said. Public opinion and emotion can never override the law. But you also can't deny that the law has been constantly evolving since it was first written. And constructive public discourse actually helps push legal reforms and oversight forward. The two of them actually create a virtuous cycle. You smoothly dodged her trap, elevating the topic to a completely different level. Yueyu just stared at you, totally dumbfounded. After a second, she narrowed her eyes. She looked you up and down in your casual clothes and couldn't help but ask, by the way, boss, aren't lawyers supposed to be all suits and ties? How come I've never seen you in a suit? Who says lawyers have to wear suits? I just like dressing casual. You replied without even looking up. But the truth was, you were just too massive. None of the off-the-rack suits at the stores ever fit, so you'd have to get them custom-made. And the problem with that was custom tailoring was just too damn expensive to be worth it. Listening to your excuse, Yueyu looked thoughtful, nodded slightly, and didn't say another word. The very next morning, just as you arrived at the law firm, a car slowly pulled up right in front of you and stopped. A man stepped out, walked up to you, and asked, "Excuse me, are you Mr. Su Buffon?" "Yeah, that's me. Do I know you?" You sized the man up for a second, feeling a bit confused. "Oh, you misunderstand," he said. "Someone placed an order with us to deliver a small gift to you. And given your rather imposing physique, we were able to recognize you right away." This middle-aged man was a bit unusual. It was the first time you'd ever seen someone stand this close to you. And still speak to you so calmly, completely unfazed and professional. No wonder the guy was driving a Rolls-Royce. Then it suddenly hit you. Wait a minute, what kind of gift requires a whole Rolls-Royce for delivery? Thinking about it, your expectations shot right through the roof. But when the middle-aged man actually brought it out, you couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. It was just a neatly folded, navy blue suit. The man seemed to catch that flash of disappointment in your eyes. He didn't over-explain, just gave a subtle smile. "This suit is the crown jewel of our boutique. It was entirely hand-stitched by my mentor. Originally, my mentor only intended it as a display piece. After all, the garment is exceptionally large. Very few people could ever fit into it. We never expected that, after receiving your measurements. It would be an absolute perfect match for you." You couldn't help but smirk at that cliché sales pitch. "So, you're saying this suit and I are destined to be together?" The man chuckled. "Destiny alone isn't quite enough, sir. One must also have money." And the young lady offered us a truly staggering amount. Seriously, what a crazy spender. You shook your head and let out a sigh. From what the man just said, you'd have to be a complete idiot not to know exactly who bought it for you. The rest of the day flew by. Before you knew it, it was the day of the live stream trial. Because of the massive media frenzy online, by the time you arrived at the Jincheng courthouse, the place was absolutely packed with people. A mob of reporters with cameras had surrounded a guy. It was Zhang Hong, the defense attorney hired by Wu Bing. "Hello, excuse me, Attorney Zhang. Given your client's terrible reputation online, and the accusations that you're just defending a bad guy for money, what do you have to say about that?" Zhang Hong adjusted his suit, not showing a single hint of panic on his face. "I am a professional legal practitioner, and while I completely understand the public's emotional reaction, as a professional attorney, I must emphasize that our job isn't to vouch for a client's moral character. Our job is to uphold the law, and the true meaning of the law lies in its absolute fairness. If public opinion is allowed to compromise legal justice, then what's the point of having a legal system at all? We might as well just decide verdicts by popular vote. So, unlike certain colleagues in my profession, I don't use a standard civil dispute case as a platform to hype myself up and play the hero. Honestly, people like that are wasting their talents not becoming internet influencers." Yueyu walked up just in time to catch Zhang Hong's little speech. Anyone with half a brain knew exactly who he was taking shots at. Beside Yueyu immediately ground her teeth in anger. You, on the other hand, were completely unfazed. "What are you so mad about? If a dog barks at you, are you gonna bark back at it? Besides, once this trial is over, we'll see who the real clown is." Saying that, you walked forward with absolute calm. The moment you stepped toward them, the massive crowd naturally parted, opening up a clear path right through the middle. Zhang Hong was just about to say something, when suddenly, his vision went completely black. He slowly turned his head stiffly, and saw a towering giant standing right in front of him. Staring down at him with a wide, eerie grin. "Lawyer Zhang, I'll see you in court." It took a long time after you walked away for Zhang Hong to finally snap out of it. He was already drenched in a layer of cold sweat. But then, Zhang Hong instantly realized, the reporters were broadcasting live. Realizing this, he quickly straightened his clothes and tried to act casual, muttering, "Man, the bar for becoming a lawyer keeps getting lower these days." Unfortunately for him, his moment of pure panic earlier had already been broadcasted perfectly to the entire internet. "You called it a lawyer?" Bro almost pissed his pants just from Lawyer Su looking at him. How's he gonna survive in court? The trial was set for 9:15. 20 minutes prior, everyone had already filed into the courtroom. The trial was about to begin. The presiding judge today was Zhang Jing. Though she was young, she had a ton of experience on the bench. However, the moment she saw you standing there in that sharp blue suit, a brief flash of absolute shock crossed her face. In all her years as a judge, she had never seen someone with such an intimidating presence. Zhang Jing took a deep breath, and with solemn authority, she struck the gavel and began reading the courtroom rules. Down below, the cameramen were already in position. The live stream went up, and instantly, a massive flood of viewers swarmed into the chat. At the same time, a man in a sleek suit and glasses popped up on the stream screen. Hello everyone, I'm Luo-san. When I heard Jin Chang was holding its very first public criminal trial, well, that's huge news in the legal world. I was invited here today to give you all a live breakdown of what's happening. Luo-san's commentary got a lot of viewers pretty hyped up, and while the online chat was going crazy, back in the courtroom, Judge Zhang Jing struck the gavel once more. I now declare this trial officially in session. The plaintiff may now state their claims. Yu slowly, calmly stood up, and seeing such a massive, intimidating lawyer immediately sparked a huge uproar in the livestream chat. What an absolute unit of a lawyer. Honestly, mad respect to anyone brave enough to go up against him. That takes some serious guts. Luo-san smiled and nodded. Well, you don't fight physically in a courtroom, but having an overwhelming presence, that's definitely a tactical advantage. I've got high hopes for this guy. Professor Luo, quick question, how do you think the verdict will play out? Seeing the comment pop up, Luo-san shook his head. The law isn't swayed by personal feelings. All I can say is, if the rumors online are true, he's most likely looking at less than a year, probably just probation. Hearing Luo-san say that, the thousands of viewers immediately felt let down. Seeing the chat fill up with disappointed comments, Luo-san just smiled and shook his head again. Now, let's not jump to conclusions just yet. Sometimes, how the lawyers perform on the spot can change everything. Let's just sit back and see what Lawyer Sue brings to the table. The camera cut back to the courtroom. You casually brushed a non-existent speck of dust off your suit. In today's trial, I am representing the plaintiff in bringing these charges against the defendant. On December 7th, the defendant, Wu Bing, initiated verbal abuse against my client, which ultimately escalated into physical violence. This resulted in my client suffering a ruptured eardrum and the loss of a tooth on the left side. Medical reports officially classify this as a level 2 minor injury. Furthermore, Wu Bing's violent behavior is a massive disruption to the peace and harmony of our society. My client is a young professional, just starting out in the real world. The defendant's brutal actions have inflicted deep, irreparable psychological trauma upon him. A monster this utterly devoid of humanity is a massive threat to society. Hearing you lay it on so incredibly thick, everyone around stared with their eyes wide open in disbelief. Sure, Wu Bing was a total piece of trash, but wasn't your speech just a little bit too dramatic? Over at the defense table, Wu Bing's face had turned completely pale. If you kept going on like this, they might as well just drag him out back and put him down. Objection, Your Honor. The defense strongly objects. The plaintiff is launching a personal attack against my client. As Wu Bing's defense attorney, even though he was quite intimidated by you, Zhang Hong had no choice but to speak up and interrupt your statement. But the moment he finished, you didn't back down for a second and fired back, Your Honor. The defense attorney is disrupting the court. I move to have him removed from the courtroom. Hearing this, Zhang Hong's face instantly turned livid. Good grief. Was he really about to get thrown out of court over a single sentence? On the bench, Judge Zhang Jing frowned and banged her gavel. Counsel for the defense, please maintain order in the court. That is your first warning. And counsel for the plaintiff, please watch your language. Zhang Hong's expression grew even more grim. Why did he get an official warning, while the other side just got a simple slap on the wrist? Completely ignoring a deeply aggrieved Zhang Hong, you continued, the plaintiff's demands are as follows. We request that the defendant compensate the plaintiff for 2 months of lost wages, totaling 10,000 yuan. Transportation expenses, 5,000 yuan. Medical expenses, 15,000 yuan. Emotional distress damages, 500,000 yuan. Making for a grand total of 530,000 yuan in compensation. All legal fees for this case shall be borne entirely by the defendant. Furthermore, we request that the defendant be charged with intentional assault, robbery, and criminal defamation. The factual basis matches the indictment perfectly. The plaintiff's requests are concluded, and we ask the court to uphold them. As your words echoed through the room, the entire court fell dead silent. The atmosphere sank into a bizarre, heavy silence. At the defense table, Zhang Hong gulped hard, glancing over at the utterly terrified expression of the person standing not too far away.